Exercise 7C, the quick selection tool. There is an exercise file for this, so please open it up and download it. Once it downloads, you can open it with Photoshop. So our goal here is to create an image composite by removing the background of this car and putting it inside the other scene. The other scene is just this landscape, and we will cut out the background of the car so the object fits into the landscape. And we will do this rather quickly with the quick selection tool. So press the letter W on your keyboard to bring up the wand tools, and you can click and hold or right click. Make sure that you have the quick selection tool selected. Have a quick look at the options. I'm leaving it in the default mode over here, which is the add to selection. And then you can start painting with this like a brush in order to create a selection. You have the square bracket shortcuts to make the brush larger and smaller. And you have the option of selecting the background or selecting the car. I'm going to select the background by clicking and dragging along the background and observing as the selection is made. So you'll see this tool isn't 100% perfect all the time. You can see over here that it accidentally selected part of the car. So we want to be careful and make sure that it's making a good selection, and you need to train this tool on how to work. So what you should do is get comfortable with the keyboard shortcut, Alt. When you hold Alt, you see how the cursor changed to a minus. This will remove from selection. If you're not comfortable with the keyboard shortcut, you always have the option of clicking up here to switch the mode to the remove, the subtract from selection. It just takes a little bit longer. So I'm going to hold the Alt button, and then I'm going to come from inside the car and start clicking towards the edge. Just enough so that it learns where the edge is. So it helps. It had a bit of trouble, so I'm going to make the brush smaller and go a bit closer. And there you go. So this tool is trying to guess what you're trying to select, and you kind of need to help it out. So now continue adding the background into the selection. So no keyboard shortcut because I'm in the default mode of add to selection. So I could keep clicking and dragging to select the background. And if all goes well, it shouldn't take too long. There we go. So that worked out pretty good. You might want to zoom in just to double check that you have a nice edge selection. I see here the mirror had a bit of trouble, so I'll zoom in, make the brush a bit smaller, and whoops, gonna undo that. I'm selecting the background, so I want to remove the car from the selection. So I'll hold the Alt button and remove some of this mirror. There we go, that looks a bit better. So it's this back and forth process of adding the background and removing the object. So this is looking pretty good, and there we have it. So now what do we do now that we have this selection? What I want you to do is to learn how to create a layer mask from a selection. This is a very good way of working inside Photoshop. So I'm going to go to Layer, Layer Mask, and Hide Selection. So just pause for a moment and think what you selected, and do you want to reveal the selection or do you want to hide the selection? In my case, I selected the background, so I'm going to click Hide Selection, which will hide the background. Now what you see is that the layer mask is created, and the black on the layer mask was where we had the selection of the background. The last thing you'll need to do is probably do a bit of cleanup. So I'm going to click on the mask to make sure it's selected. I will reset my colors, and I will just go in with the eraser and switch to the eraser and just clean up all those parts that I need. So I see some little leftovers here and also at the edge, and that looks good. And that's it for this exercise.